All right, welcome back inside our Vancouver Proactive Studios and welcoming in the CEO of Enthusiast Gaming, Menashe Kestenbaum. Menashe, how are you? Nice to meet you.
I'm doing well. Nice to meet you as well.
The world of gaming, it's growing and growing and growing. Everywhere you look, there's some sort of gaming happening somewhere, and you go online and everybody's talking about it.
I'm excited because I've been waiting for this day to come. We saw it years ago being hardcore gamers, so it's nice to see kind of the mainstream world finally take notice.
And you grew up as a gamer?
I grew up, yeah, hardcore gamer. I had hundreds of gaming magazines. I would scour them, read them from cover to cover, and save them all.
Really? Do you have a favorite game? Is there something you played when as a kid that you thought, this is the game that I love the most?
Well, I'm a big Nintendo junkie.
Yeah.
So all their games. I love the Zelda series, the Metroid series.
Yeah, when I was a kid, with Donkey Kong was huge for us.
Donkey
It was a
Kong
big one,
fun
yes.
too.
And then Mario Brothers, of course. So let's talk about Enthusiast Gaming, because this is a really unique company with a lot of different levels to it. So tell us a little bit about when you started the company and what exactly it's all about.
Well, it really began, my dream was to go into the gaming industry. I thought I would be a game developer when I was younger. As I became a teenager, I went onto a site called IGN. They were kind of the first big gaming site out there as the internet took off. And it was fun for me because I was finally able to meet other people who were just as passionate as I was and kind of discuss, write about it, debate about it. So that was what got me really involved on an organic level.
Right.
When I was 28, I decided to stop writing on message boards and make my own blog. I thought I would be able to kind of enjoy what I'm doing and also make a bit of side money. Help pay the bills.
Sure.
But that side hustle, which was called NintendoEnthusiast.com, grew to several 100,000 users.
Wow.
Within a few years. So my hobby became this opportunity that I wanted to figure out. This was finally my dream of, hey, maybe I could create this massive gaming company. So that's what we set about doing.
Did you, when you were at that point thinking, okay, I've got, a couple of 100,000 people on there, did you think at that point you could make it into a company, or was it something that you were just trying to monetize the amount of people you had reading it?
I wasn't even doing it as a company. It was like, for many years, it was just a hobby.
Just fun, right.
I made a lot of friends. We saw people on our message boards meet each other and get married. Someone who works currently in Montreal Ubisoft, she met on these boards.
Wow.
I have a really close friend in Kentucky who I've never met in real life, but we've played games together for many, many years. Since 2001, we knew each other on IGN.
Right.
And he carried over to our Nintendo Enthusiast forums. So I saw this new thing where it was like, wow, the internet really allows you to meet other people with similar passions. And that's where I kind of said, I want to create this place that's all it's about is connecting gamers and helping them kind of find others who are passionate. Eventually, as it grew, I turned it into a company.
So you're not creating video games. You're taking video games that are out there and creating basically a space for everyone to either play the game or to learn more about the game or connect the game together.
Exactly. Video games have been around for a little while. In the 70s, 80s, 90s, the companies have been making a lot of money for decades on this. What's new about all this, and the reason why it's coming into the mainstream and the headlines, is that the internet allowed people to actually connect around it, and it's made the community and the social world around gaming actually much larger than the games themselves. So there are more people watching games than actually playing games.
Yeah.
So
which is a novel thought.
It's a novel thought. And then you have the esports side of it, where you have an infrastructure through the internet to meet other people and compete in real time with very little lag at all. And you could have 100 people playing a game like Fortnite all at the same time. That wasn't possible 10 years ago.
Right. But it is now, and through your site as well. You have an interesting line on your website that says it's an online community for authentic video gamers. What do you mean by authentic?
I think us as gamers are able to sniff out when something is extremely corporate. They're trying to engage, but they're not speaking the language. There's a famous meme of on the internet of Doritos and Mountain Dew, and with someone sitting in between them as a commentator. And it was like, that's not a way to engage with our community.
Right.
So when we even started our events, we started our community, it was like, we were the grassroots world of gaming. And I think that for brands to kind of engage, you have to engage in a very authentic way. So, if you could be a multi-billion-dollar company like Nintendo,
right,
and you'll have people sleeping in sleeping bags on the street waiting for a new game release. That's fine. You can make a lot of money as long as you're doing something that gamers really love. But if
right,
you're coming in as a big brand, trying to say, hey, now we're all about gaming because that's where money is, we sniff it out right away.
Yeah, because those person that may be sleeping on there is going home and jumping on your site, and, and that's the difference.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the business side of this. How do you monetize that? How does the business side of it work for you?
So as my website grew, what happened was I recognized it's not making enough money. Advertisers weren't paying for it, which showed me that there was no really strong network monetizing and aggregating all these gaming bloggers like myself. And that's what we set about to create. I reached out to a lot of the other site owners in my network and said, we're going to create an ad network. And if you join with me, I know all your pain points. I know what keeps you up at night and why you can't even turn this into a full-time business.
Right.
We should be making a lot more money. So I've always kept it to that we weren't going to take really aggressive cuts of their revenue. We'd be, they know that they could call me up, any of the site owners, at 2 a.m. and I'll answer, take care of their issues. So that really allowed me to get a very large group of these gaming bloggers until we had 85 of them, and started reaching 75 million gamers monthly. I think in Comscore right now it says we're about number 5 in total gaming reach across North America. So
then you sell ads? Is that what you do? You sell ads, but you also have an auction for ads as well. Is that right?
Yeah, we mediate between advertisers. So we typically will want advertisers who are advertising something that gamers don't mind seeing. If it's a new game release, if it's something that's relevant to them. So those advertisers work with us. We have a marketplace where they're able to kind of try and buy ads on them, and it gets mediated through this auction of who's willing to pay the highest price. Or they could book well in advance if they have a new game release coming out in a quarter or two. They'll book to make sure kind of they get the word out.
Now you went live. Your ticker symbol is EGLX, which is also the name of your events as well. So tell us about the events and why you do those.
The events was actually a pretty cool story. I didn't realize how big that would get. I basically had quit my full-time job to make this blog turn into a real business, and I needed time to test out various business models, but I needed something to do to kind of bootstrap the company from the beginning. So I went over to a local pub in Toronto and offered them a deal that instead of paying a venue rental, if they allowed me to take over their venue on Sunday when they had very few people, I would bring in some gamers, we would host some tournaments, let people hang out throughout the day, and they would pay me $20 to get in, and they would sit there eating food, drinking, and having a good time throughout the day. So our first event that we did in Toronto, we got about 120 people showing up.
Wow.
And we started doing that every Sunday until it grew to a point that we had to move to a university with 400 people at our events. When we outgrew that, we moved to a little convention space, and we had 1,700 people in a tournament. A year after that, we had grown to 12,000 people, and we had Canada's largest gaming convention.
Wow.
The next event was 24,000 people, and now we're having the next one in a week from now where we're going to have to cap it at about 35,000 people, and we're going to take double the amount of space next year.
That's incredible. Wow, amazing. Just as we wrap up here, tell me a little bit about how you grow revenue on the company. Do you think is the key parts that you want to see improve in the next year and a half?
I mean, we went public in order to get the funding and the paper to execute on a roll-up strategy. There's a lot of opportunities of websites, of people who are looking to join into something bigger. They're willing to sell with some upside in equity and performance milestones where we've raised capital that we can now deploy to do a lot of these executions, a lot of the roll-up and M&A. I think that will kind of, if 90% of our growth has been organic to date, we're suddenly going to be put on steroids with these M&A deals that we're doing.
Right, it's fascinating. Well, good luck with everything. Nice to meet you and learn a little bit more about the company. And who would have thought all those years ago when you're playing all the video games that it turned into the CEO of a company and doing pretty well. Great to meet you. Thank you very much. All right, that's Menashe Kestenbaum, the CEO of Enthusiast Gaming.